Day 2 of 2025 preseason testing in Bahrain provided a clearer picture of the competitive order, but it wasn't Williams who topped the timesheets, making headlines. It was McLaren, with several teams still holding back on outright pace, and Red Bull losing crucial track time due to a water pressure issue for Liam Lawson. McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes completed a full 51-lap race simulation. The results were eye-opening. Lando Norris finished a staggering 31 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari, with Mercedes rookie Kimi Antonelli another 1.4 seconds further behind. However, the real surprise wasn't just Norris winning the simulation, but how he built that advantage. During the second stint of the race run, Norris was on the hardest C1 tire, but was still lapping 0.2 to 0.4 seconds faster than both Ferrari and Mercedes, who were running the softer C2 compound. Normally, this shouldn't happen. The harder tire should be slower over a stint. But McLaren's car appeared to extract more pace from the C1, suggesting a potential advantage in tire management and race performance. In the final stint, Norris switched to the softer C2 tire, and the gap widened even further. He was now averaging over 1 second per lap quicker than Leclerc and Antonelli, even though they had switched to the harder C1 compound. If this isn't just a tire anomaly, it suggests McLaren could have genuine race-winning pace heading into 2025. Unlike other teams, McLaren avoided chasing single-lap glory runs. Instead, they focused on long-run consistency, setup experiments, and pit stop practice, a strong indicator that they're confident in the car's overall performance. A late flying lap attempt from Norris hinted that they had much more pace in hand, as he was only a couple of tenths off Carlos Sainz's fastest time for Williams after 2 sectors before aborting the lap. McLaren's approach suggests that they aren't interested in showing off just yet. If they had serious concerns about their pace, they would likely have gone for a more aggressive low-fuel run. Instead, they prioritized gathering useful data, reinforcing the theory that they already know they're competitive. Red Bull's situation remains unclear after a troubled second day. A water pressure issue for Liam Lawson in the afternoon severely limited their track time, and crucially, Max Verstappen didn't drive at all. Without a direct Red Bull comparison, it's difficult to say whether McLaren's dominance in the race simulation was exaggerated or if they truly have an edge. It's possible that Red Bull, like McLaren, is holding back, waiting until the final day of testing to show their true pace. However, the lack of track time could mean they aren't as prepared as they'd like to be heading into the season opener. Ferrari and Mercedes both struggled to match McLaren's pace, particularly in tire management. Normally, teams running the softer C2 tire should have been able to keep up with Norris in the middle stint, but instead, he pulled away despite being on the harder C1. The fact that neither Ferrari nor Mercedes clawed back time in the final stint is an early warning sign that McLaren may have found something special in its 2025 car. While Ferrari and Mercedes might still be fine-tuning their setups, this test run showed that McLaren has the potential to be the biggest threat to Red Bull, or maybe even the fastest car on the grid. Preseason testing always comes with asterisks. Teams sandbag, fuel loads vary, and conditions aren't always representative of race weekends. However, what we've seen so far points to McLaren being a serious contender in 2025. If this performance carries over into the opening races, McLaren might just be Red Bull's biggest nightmare. And if Red Bull is struggling with reliability, the gap could be even smaller than expected. With one more day of testing to go, the big question remains: is McLaren really this fast, or are they just playing the long game? Williams' impressive lap times raised eyebrows, but the reality behind their pace is more nuanced.
Actually, Mercedes, given how cool it's been, and we know that team has historically thrived in cooler conditions. Last year it could dominate even with a slightly sketchy car at times. But it's been an encouraging test for both of them. Probably trailing McLaren, but maybe not by much, and maybe in better shape than Red Bull.
The team had already shown strong potential on day one, positioning itself as a top contender in the midfield. By the second morning, Williams continued to catch attention, prompting speculation about whether they could be an under-the-radar threat. However, setting the fastest time removes any sense of flying under the radar. While Williams leading the timesheets doesn't necessarily mean they're the fastest team, Alex Albon hinted that their lap was done on lighter fuel compared to others. Each team runs its own testing program, and Williams was focused on evaluating the performance of Pirelli's 2025 tires under low fuel conditions. Despite this, Their strong performance suggests that Williams could establish itself as a true dark horse this season.
Based on pre-season testing, this year it's Sauber. Now, it doesn't look as terrible as the Alpine did last year, but it still looks pretty bad. Certainly the trickiest car to drive. Looked appalling initially. They did make setup changes on the first day that improved matters significantly, but still to the point where it was the car you least wanted to be in based on watching it trackside. It's not particularly quick either, so concerns there. The car's...
One of the key upgrades for Williams is the adoption of Mercedes's 2025 rear suspension, replacing the outdated components they used last year. While adapting to the new setup,
be unlocked by Australia is another question. Certainly lots of work to be done there. I put my observations to Nico Hülkenberg a few minutes ago in his media session. He was, let's say, professionally evasive, tried to joke it off, laugh it off, but he didn't say anything to disabuse me of those notions, let's put it that way. And I think pretty much what I saw on the outside was what he was feeling in the car, only obviously right in the middle of it, he'll have felt it more intently. So a lot of work.
The team appears to be handling the transitions smoothly. The car has shown the potential to challenge its drivers at times, but both Albon and Logan Sargent remain cautiously optimistic. A more refined balance is expected, and adjustments made overnight could bring further improvements for the final day of testing. Kimi Antonelli may have logged thousands of miles in older F1 cars last year, but Thursday evening in Bahrain marked his first true race simulation on real F1 tires. This was a crucial learning experience for both the Italian rookie and Mercedes. Unlike the demonstration Pirellis he had used before, Antonelli had to learn how to manage current race rubber effectively. While his session wasn't flawless, pushing too hard at times, overworking the tires, and even running off track, these are natural challenges for any rookie driver. Despite the learning curve, Mercedes was encouraged by his pace after crunching the numbers against rivals. Antonelli's race simulation was closely matched with Charles Leclerc's run at the same time, and even quicker than what Liam Lawson managed in the Red Bull earlier in the afternoon. The only clear outlier was Lando Norris's McLaren, which appeared to be a step ahead, reinforcing McLaren's strong form heading into the season. Lewis Hamilton's second day in the Ferrari was another step forward, with no signs of reality dampening the excitement surrounding his move from Mercedes. Topping the morning session and finishing second overall, half a tenth ahead of teammate Leclerc, was a strong statement. Beyond the raw times, Hamilton looked confident in the car, with improved responsiveness during his final trackside runs. His high fuel pace was competitive with other top cars running at the same time, further reinforcing Ferrari's strong form. Off-track, Hamilton engaged in his most extensive media session since joining Ferrari, maintaining a highly positive outlook. He emphasized that every day with the team has been significant and that his transition has been smoother than expected. Even his minor testing crash in the 2023 car played a role in helping him adapt.
Formula One season is now just a few weeks away, and we've already got our first little tech row bubbling away in the paddock.
With one day of testing remaining, Hamilton and Ferrari appear to have made substantial progress together in a short period. As teams push their 2025 cars to the limit, their strengths and weaknesses become more apparent, but only to a keen observer. Watching trackside on day 2 in Bahrain, two teams stood out. The first was McLaren, which delivered an exceptionally strong race run. While they haven't shown their full performance potential in a low-fuel lap, their consistency stood out. Despite Norris mentioning rear-end instability, it didn't appear to be a major issue. The car's handling looked well within the normal range of setup adjustments. The second standout was Williams. While they topped the timesheets, they are far from the outright fastest team. However, based on current form, they appear to be leading the midfield battle and could even challenge the top 4 teams. The car occasionally has tricky moments, but the drivers seem capable of managing them. Ferrari showed decent pace but struggled with understeer at times, suggesting they may not have fully dialed in their setup yet. Meanwhile, Antonelli's full race simulation in the Mercedes provided valuable insight. His transition from demo tires to proper race tires was an important step in his development. As for Red Bull and Ferrari's full capabilities, final judgments will have to wait. Their sessions didn't align with trackside observations, making it difficult to fully assess their performance. The final day of testing should provide more clarity,